Forgotten kings and queens of Europe. Did you know that one European monarch, King Sebastian of Portugal, vanished without a trace in 1578 during a battle in North Africa, leading to a profound national crisis and the belief he would one day return, a legend that persisted for centuries and profoundly shaped Portuguese identity? His disappearance wasn't just a political void. It etched itself into the very soul of a nation, leaving a throne empty and a people yearning for a phantom king, as documented by historical analyses from the University of Lisbon. This dramatic vanishing act is just one example of how history often sidelights figures whose reigns, though impactful, fade into the shadows, eclipsed by more famous contemporaries or dramatic twists of fate. Europe's grand tapestry of royalty is often illuminated by the glittering names we all know: Elizabeth I, Louis XIV, Julius Caesar. Yet, beneath these towering figures lies a fascinating substratum of monarchs, rulers whose stories are no less compelling, no less vital, but have somehow slipped through the cracks of collective memory. These forgotten kings and queens presided over empires, sparked revolutions, and navigated political minefields, often with the same cunning and charisma as their more celebrated counterparts, only to be relegated to footnotes in popular history. Consider, for instance, Empress Matilda, a fierce English noblewoman of the 12th century, often overlooked in favor of her male relatives. While her cousin, King Stephen, is widely recognized, Matilda's relentless struggle for the English throne against him, a period known as the Anarchy, was a brutal, drawn-out civil war that reshaped the very foundations of English law and land ownership. She was the daughter of King Henry I, declared his heir, yet upon his death, she faced immense resistance simply because she was a woman. Her courage and strategic mind were undeniable, enduring sieges and political betrayals, even escaping Oxford Castle during a harsh winter by crossing a frozen river Thames disguised in white. According to a study published in the Journal of Medieval History, her near-coronation and subsequent retreat from London due to citizen opposition highlight the deep-seated gender biases that powerful women faced, even at the pinnacle of power. Then there is Gondomar, a Visigothic king of Hispania in the early 7th century, whose reign was so brief, lasting mere months, that his entire existence sometimes feels like a historical whisper. Yet, during his fleeting time on the throne, Gondomar managed to solidify an alliance with the Frankish king Theoderic II and the Lombard king Agilulf, aiming to counter Byzantine influence in the region. This strategic maneuvering, though short-lived in its immediate impact, speaks volumes about the constant, intricate dance of diplomacy and power among early medieval European kingdoms. Such rapid succession and obscure figures are not uncommon in the tumult of early medieval Europe, a period often characterized by brutal power struggles and ephemeral reigns, a pattern observed in historical accounts by the Institute for Visigothic Studies. Moving to Eastern Europe, we encounter Queen Jadwiga of Poland, a truly remarkable figure from the late 14th century. Crowned King of Poland in 1384 to legitimize her rule in a male-dominated political landscape, Jadwiga was not merely a figurehead. She was a deeply intellectual and devout woman who used her influence to establish universities, promote religious reforms, and skillfully navigate the complex political currents between Poland, Lithuania, and the Teutonic Knights. Her marriage to Jogaila, Grand Duke of Lithuania, unified the two realms, creating the largest state in Europe at the time and leading to the Christianization of Lithuania. Her diplomatic prowess and cultural patronage, including the restoration of the Krakow Academy, later Jagiellonian University, had a profound and lasting impact that resonates to this day, as detailed in Polish historical review publications. Further west, we find Joanna the Mad, Queen of Castile and Aragon, born in 1479. Her tragic story is often overshadowed by her more famous parents, Isabella I and Ferdinand II, the Catholic monarchs who funded Columbus. Joanna was highly intelligent, fluent in several languages, and heir to one of Europe's wealthiest kingdoms. However, after the death of her beloved husband, Philip the Handsome, after facing political machinations from her father and son, She was declared insane and imprisoned for decades in Tordesillas. Her madness is now widely debated by historians, with many suggesting it was a political maneuver by male relatives to seize control of her vast inheritance. This systematic discrediting of a powerful woman to consolidate power is a recurring theme in royal histories, as noted by researchers at the Center for Gender and History. Her confinement prevented her from actively ruling, yet she remained the legitimate queen, a phantom sovereign whose presence loomed large over Spanish politics for over 40 years. Across the English Channel, Ethelred the Unready, an Anglo-Saxon king of England, 978-1016, is often remembered for his unfortunate nickname and his struggles against Viking invasions. His reign, however, was far more complex than a simple tale of ineptitude. Ethelred inherited a kingdom plagued by internal feuds and external threats, and his efforts to stabilize England included reforming the coinage, establishing new fortified towns, and attempting diplomatic solutions with his Norse adversaries. His decision to pay Danegeld, tribute to the Vikings, was seen by some as weakness, but by others as a pragmatic, but costly, way to buy time for a vulnerable kingdom. He was eventually forced into exile by Sweyn Forkbeard, only to return to a fragmented nation. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle and subsequent historical analyses reveal a monarch grappling with immense pressure, making decisions that, while imperfect, shaped the trajectory of a nascent English state. Consider also King Ladislaus IV, the Cumanian, of Hungary, who reigned in the late 13th century. Born to a Cumanian mother, he spent much of his reign embroiled in conflict with Hungarian nobles and the Church, who disapproved of his pagan, Cumanian relatives and his lifestyle, which often favored Cumanian customs over traditional Hungarian ones. He was a complex figure, a skilled warrior who fought against the Mongol Golden Horde, yet his personal life and political choices alienated many, ultimately leading to his assassination by his own Cumanian allies. His story is a poignant example of the clash of cultures and the struggle for national identity in medieval Central Europe, where the integration of nomadic peoples into Christian kingdoms often proved tumultuous, were explored in historical documents housed in the Hungarian National Archives. Delving into the realm of the Holy Roman Empire, we encounter Empress Agnes of Poitou, who acted as regent for her young son, Henry IV, in the mid-11th century. Her regency was a turbulent period, marked by the rising power of the papacy and ambitious German princes. Agnes was a cultured and intelligent woman, but she faced immense pressure as a female ruler in a fiercely patriarchal society. Her attempts to maintain imperial authority often clashed with powerful archbishops and dukes, leading to a weakening of the central imperial power and setting the stage for the investiture controversy, a major conflict between church and state that would define the era. While her son, Henry IV, is more famously associated with the walk to Canossa, it was Agnes's foundational struggles that laid the groundwork for this dramatic confrontation, a fact often highlighted in specialized academic papers on the Salian dynasty. Another fascinating, yet often overlooked, monarch is Louis V of France, known as Le Fainéant, the Do-Nothing. His brief reign in the late 10th century was the tail end of the Carolingian dynasty in West Francia, a period of decline for the great empire of Charlemagne. Louis V's inability to control his powerful vassals and his early, mysterious death at the age of 20, possibly from a hunting accident or poisoning, sealed the fate of his lineage. His passing paved the way for the ascension of Hugh Capet, the founder of the Capetian dynasty, which would rule France for centuries. While Louis V might be remembered as ineffectual, his very existence as the final Carolingian monarch marks a pivotal transition point in French history, symbolizing the shift from one of Europe's most enduring royal lines to another, a turning point frequently emphasized in annals histoire, sciences sociales. The sheer volume of European royalty throughout millennia means countless rulers simply couldn't make it into the mainstream historical narrative. Many of these figures, like King Wenceslas IV of Bohemia, were complex individuals whose reigns were filled with political intrigue, religious strife, and personal struggles. Wenceslas, who ruled in the late 14th and early 15th centuries, was also king of Germany and struggled with the Hussite Wars, a major religious movement, and faced deposition attempts. His story embodies the fragmentation and intense religious fervor of Central Europe on the eve of the Reformation. His legacy, often overshadowed by the later Hussite leaders like Jan Hus, nonetheless represents a critical phase in Bohemian history, as attested by historians specializing in medieval Central European studies at Charles University in Prague. These forgotten kings and queens serve as potent reminders that history is not a static, neatly packaged narrative, but a vast, intricate web with countless threads waiting to be rediscovered. Their lives, filled with ambition, betrayal, love, and loss, echo through time, offering unique perspectives on power, society, and the human condition. To truly understand the full breadth of European history, we must venture beyond the well-trodden paths and seek out these spectral figures, whose silent reigns and forgotten struggles shaped the continent in profound and enduring ways. Their stories, though often relegated to dust-laden archives, offer invaluable lessons, challenging us to look deeper, question narratives, though appreciate the immense complexity of the past, thereby enriching our understanding of the present. Their legacies may be less celebrated, but their impact on the course of European civilization remains undeniable, a truth consistently reinforced by ongoing archaeological discoveries and reinterpretations of primary sources by institutions like the European University Institute.